Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you enjoy the content and want to stay updated with the latest videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Horrified of this, and despite only being 2 games into the regular season, the Jays are not only off to a hot start, but there is one thing in particular that fans aren't talking about enough that has the MLB terrified of this team once again. We're going to break down exactly what I'm talking about, discuss what it means going forward. But not only that, we do have some other updates, including updates surrounding Mason Flaherty and his injury, and a ton of other things on this episode, including some comments from some players following yesterday's walk-off win ahead of this afternoon's game as they look to win their 3rd straight and sweep the series. But before we get into it all, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content, folks, uploading multiple videos a day for you all. And let's dive right into it. We're going to be diving into a bunch of different aspects of this team and what they're doing to win. But there is one player that, stands above the rest following yesterday's start. But let's dive into this. And we're going to be focusing in on Dylan Cease today, but not just Dylan Cease, even though he's going to be the headline. The way this team is winning, they have put the MLB on notice. People are talking about it. But let's go through yesterday. Cease, Miles, Rogers, Sanchez, and Okamoto, all of the new guys, have been really, really good. And we look at what the team did last year, and obviously heading into last season, the expectations were low, and now heading into this season, the expectations are a lot higher. And they have been able, so far, brief games, of course, they've exceeded expectations. And Dylan Cease is obviously at the forefront of that. But we talk about how good this team could be if Kazuma Okamoto hits well, if Jesus Sanchez does well. And it's obviously a very small sample size. But one of the biggest variables here was Dylan Cease, ladies and gentlemen. And Dylan Cease has come out and been nothing short of absolutely spectacular. Now, we're going to dive into Mason Flaherty in a minute here, but it truly is impressive. Now, of course, again, we had guys like Spencer Miles making his MLB debut in extra innings. You have all of these players playing well, but at the forefront was Dylan Cease, and he set a career high for strikeouts in a season debut with ultimately finished with 12. And at the point, it was, of course, his previous career high was 10. But folks, this was a start that, again, that tweet was through 4 scoreless innings. He had 8 strikeouts. You look at what he's doing, and it isn't just, of course, his velocity that has ticked way, way up. His stuff looks like his Cy Young caliber season. And you might be saying, Nick, it's only game 1. It is only game 1, but we saw this in spring training. He was on podcasts talking about how Pete Walker, and one of the main reasons he joined the Jays was because A, the defense behind him, which absolutely is going to improve his numbers, but B, the tweaks they can make to his throwing angle, to his launch angle, to, of course, his, using his changeup, slider, fastball. And all of a sudden, he looks like a completely different pitcher than what he was last season. And you can see here, through 1 pitch in the strike zone, this first inning with the Jays, a pair of strikeouts. Get used to this formula. And the formula is getting hitters to 2 strikes and being absolutely dominant. That is what he is able to do. That is what he's going to be able to do all season. And all of a sudden, you pair that with the fact that he's throwing 99, 100 miles per hour. It is a formula for success. And this team is exactly where we all hoped they'd be. And they're doing things like they did last year, just this year. It seems like a picturesque replica of the regular season last year. Again, only 2 games in, but you can see here, he touched 100 miles per hour for the first time with the Jays, and he did so multiple times. He did it just 4 times in 2025. He's already doing it in his first game. His velocity is up. His location is dialed in, and one of the biggest aspects here is his defense. And Ben Nicholson-Smith said that Blue Jays believe that their defenders can help all of their pitchers, including Dylan Cease. In fact, part of their pitch to Cease in November was an estimate of how his numbers would change with Kirk, Clement, Jimenez, and Varsho playing behind him. We saw an insane double play between Andres Jimenez and Dalton Varsho yesterday. We're seeing things that we haven't really, seen from a while out of 2 Jays pitchers. Like, you have Gausman and you have Cease. Cease looks like an ace, and the Jays haven't had that true ace in a while. You can argue Gausman's been kind of their pseudo ace for a bit. It's unbelievable. And hopefully Dylan Cease is going to be able to kind of replicate it, because you look at his stats last year, again, a 4.55 ERA. Obviously now we're into 2026, but just showing you guys numbers last year, he underperformed his metrics heavily. And if he can continue to do what he did yesterday, which, of course, in case you missed it, in game 1, Gausman was fantastic. And then if the Jays can do what they did in game 2 with Dylan Cease specifically, 5 1/3 with 12 Ks, the team's in a fantastic position. But you have Dylan Cease adding to his arsenal, making those adjustments. It's a very scary sight, and it's why a lot of fans of other teams are pegging the Jays as obviously they're no longer underdogs, pegging them as the favorites. But I made the take before the season, I'm making it now. Dylan Cease is going to be the guy to keep an eye out on. And diving into that a little bit more, so he threw his changeup 13% of the time over his 83 pitches in his final spring start. And then today, or rather yesterday, he threw his changeup 9% of the time and had a 100% whiff rate. And his fastball slider combo, was 64%, mix in some of his other pitches. He is filthy, but he's also learning how to kind of incorporate that new not necessarily the fully new arsenal, but the adjusted arsenal that he has. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. But let's dive into some other updates here. So John Schneider did say following the game that Mason Fluharty suffered a right knee contusions. X-rays were negative. Should be okay for today. This is big news because Brendan Little, the two lefties are Mason Fluharty and Brendan Little out of the bullpen, right? Eric Lauer had to slide into the start today. Ultimately with the injuries to Trey Savage, Shane Bieber, and Jose Barrios, and Jimmy Garcia, all those players and things, right? So looking at this, if you were down Mason Fluharty, your only option against lefties in theory would be trusting one of your righties or using Brendan Little, who we don't trust. So this is very good news. Obviously, took two comebackers off himself back to back, and hopefully that he's all good. The Jays have a little bit of a problem with, I don't want to say they have a Mason Fluharty problem yet, but you look at that bullpen down there, or not Mason Fluharty, Brendan Little, I mean. You look at that bullpen, and of course, Brendan Little's projected WAR was 0.3. He hasn't been able to locate that new electric, nasty fastball he threw 100 miles per hour in the spring. He wasn't able to locate. And I want you guys to comment, do you think they have a Brendan Little and Jeff Hoffman problem? Now, I'm standing by the fact that in game one, Jeff Hoffman was filthy. Shea Langoliers hit his first.
What an incredible start to the regular season for the Toronto Blue Jays. In their very first game, they didn't just win, they walked it off in thrilling fashion, capping a dramatic comeback led by Andrés Giménez and powered throughout by a standout individual performance from Kevin Gausman. Add in the highly anticipated debut of Kazuma Okamoto, and you've got yourself one electric opening day. The boys are back, and the energy couldn't be higher. Before breaking it all down, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your home for daily Blue Jays coverage. Your support through the offseason has been tremendous, and now that the regular season is finally here, expect post-game videos, streams, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This game had its share of ups and downs, which honestly isn't surprising for opening day. Pitchers tend to have the edge early in the season, and that showed in the box score. The offense was a little rough, 7 hits total, with 6 of them coming from the bottom half of the lineup. But let's focus on the positives. George Springer and Nathan Lucas, who got the start over the expected Jesus Sanchez, didn't do much at the plate, though Lucas drew a walk. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. went 1 for 3 with a walk and looked solid. Alejandro Kirk, Danny Jansen's replacement, and Dalton Varsho didn't give fans much to cheer about offensively. The big bright spots came from the bottom of the order: Kazuma Okamoto, Ernie Clement, and Andrés Giménez. Okamoto was nothing short of impressive in his MLB debut. He made hard contact twice, including a crucial single in the 9th inning to ignite the rally. Keep in mind, he's now facing pitches he never saw in Japan. Luis Severino was throwing nothing under 98 miles per hour in one of his at-bats. Okamoto struck out in his first plate appearance, but adjusted quickly and is already becoming a fan favorite. Let's not overreact after one game, but he looked genuinely exciting. Giménez finished with 3 RBIs, including the walk-off hit, a single up the middle that was pure Giménez. He was flagged as an X-factor heading into this season, and if he can hit even slightly above league average while continuing to play his usual elite defense, he'll be a massive contributor. The bottom of the order stepping up in a game where the top of the lineup struggled is exactly the kind of depth this team was built for. Now, the real star of the night, Kevin Gausman. Unbelievable barely covers it. 6 innings, 1 hit allowed, a solo home run to Shea Langoliers, and 11 strikeouts. He threw only 83 pitches and probably could have gone longer. This was his first opening day start as a Blue Jay, something that arguably should have happened a year earlier. By all accounts, including from manager Kiki Mattingly, this was among the best he's ever looked, a dominant, statement-making performance. The bullpen held things together for the most part. Yimi Garcia looked solid, Tyler Rogers was sharp as advertised, and Jeff Hoffman, despite giving up a solo shot to Langeliers that made things briefly uncomfortable, struck out 4 and showed good stuff. His splitter was working, his fastball was lively. One elevated pitch was all it cost him. Whether Hoffman is the right closer answer remains a fair debate, especially given last season's memories, but he got the job done tonight. Credit also to Oakland's Luis Severino, who pitched well enough to win. 2 defensive miscues, a misplayed ball in center and another in left, ended up costing the Athletics dearly and were the difference in what otherwise was a genuine pitcher's duel rather than the high-scoring affair many predicted. Looking ahead, Dylan Cease takes the mound tomorrow, and the rotation is stacking up nicely.